Hey looters, it's Flutes here. I know it's been a little while, it's tough to get time to make videos, but I recently had the privilege of being a guest player on the Audio Dungeon D&D live stream, and I got to play a character that I made up called Cilantro, a half-orc barbarian zealot. I think he's so fun that it made me feel inspired to talk to you guys today about a recent article I wrote about the best feats that you can choose for your barbarian characters. Let's get into that. As I get started talking about the best feats for barbarians, I want to make a distinction between two kind of general builds that barbarians can follow. One is the stereotypical swing a great axe or huge weapon of some kind, like an anime character barbarian, and it'll come as no surprise to you that some of the best feats for those types of barbarians are Great Weapon Master, and then everything else doesn't really matter. Everything else is gravy after that. Polearm Master is a great one because you get an extra pummel attack as a bonus action, and that includes your rage damage and strength, so it's quite a bit of damage even though it's only a d4. Those will do you fine. And with Great Weapon Master, you'll be swinging your huge axe, sword, maul, whatever, as a bonus action as well when you kill a creature or you score a critical hit to increase your damage output and just keep the pain coming. There is one that I want to talk about, which is Orcish Fury, and this feat is not usually good because it's too situational and you can only use it sparingly. Like, you have to rest before you use it again, and it's basically just like doing an extra d8, d10, d12 of damage of whatever you're swinging. So it's not great, but you can also take a swing if someone knocks you out, which hopefully isn't going to happen. But it can be cool if you are one of these types of barbarians and no other feat sounds cool and you're a half-orc, I'd say take it. The other type of barbarian, which I think is more interesting and nuanced, is a sword and shield type of barbarian, one that actually wants to defend itself and not just be swinging huge weapons and dealing lots of damage, but actually playing the defensive game as well. These types of barbarians can actually afford to invest in their dexterity because they have medium armor proficiency, so if you get a 14 in dexterity, you'll be able to get a +2 to your armor class, and with a shield you get another +2. I also recently wrote an article about how a barbarian could wield a rapier using their strength, but it's a finesse weapon so they can get the defensive duelist feat. I think this is an excellent feat for sword and shield barbarians if you are willing to use a smaller damage die on your weapon attacks. A rapier is only a d8 compared to a d10 or d12 that you could be getting with other weapons. But you really want to get your strength damage and your rage damage. That's how your reliable damage comes, so it's really not a big deal in my eyes. But Defensive Duelist is a scalable proficiency bonus based feat that allows you to use your reaction to boost your armor class against a single attack that you can see coming. So if you're wielding a rapier, a finesse weapon, and your dexterity is at least 13, like the feat requires, you can parry attacks to make your armor class potentially very high against what would normally be a brutal blow, potentially avoiding it. Between the dexterity, medium armor, shield, and defensive duelist, you could become quite the defensive power, plus your rage allows you to resist a lot of attack damage. Another benefit to this type of barbarian is that you can sheath your rapier and have your shield up, but use your other hand to try to grapple somebody if you need to keep someone in place. So if you want to use one attack from your extra attack, one attack to stab with your rapier, free action to put it away. Second attack, you try to grapple them because your other allies are going to try to get them, but you know that they have some kind of way to move around and hassle you guys in another way. So this is a great way to lock people down. So the grappler feat will allow you, if you want to, as you grapple someone, and if you don't have your shield up, you could just have your rapier out. You could attack them with advantage because you are grappling them. Then you won't have to do reckless attack because, again, we're trying to be defensive, so you don't want to give other enemies advantage to attack you just because you want to get advantage on an attack, so Grappler will help you with that. In a pinch, it's also great to be able to move from a grapple to a restrain as an action using the Grappler feat. If you restrain them, sure, it will restrain you as well because of the way the Grappler feat works, but your allies will have advantage to attack that foe, and the foe still won't be able to move away from you. They'll be stuck. Another feat I highly recommend is Mounted Combatant. If you are riding on a horse or something, I really like to picture that you need to have at least one hand free to keep on the reins so you don't fall off or lose your balance or get disadvantage on attacks. That's just me. So if you're a barbarian that's swinging a great axe, tough to be up on a horse. But if you're using a rapier, you can have a hand free to use the Mounted Combatant feat. You'll be better at protecting your mount because you're raging, so any damage that you redirect to yourself, you'll be able to resist it, and you'll be getting advantage on creatures smaller than your mount, so you don't have to reckless attack. Plus, you can move out of dicey situations if you need to be the one kiting enemies and baiting them out into disadvantageous movement. Another feat that works for this kind of barbarian is Squat Nimbleness, which is for dwarves and other small races only. But it's usually not a great feat, but it is kind of like a good way to round out those kind of characters if you want to get their movement up and get a few other benefits. Moving on to just general barbarian feats that can be good. One is the Charger feat. If you need to get up into a spellcaster's business or an archer, and you need to dash to do so, you don't want to sacrifice your attack for the round because you're a barbarian, so you'll be able to at least make a bonus action attack once you reach them after dashing, and you can do extra damage or push them over. So the Charger feat can really help round out your options. If you find yourself running around in combat chasing after misty stepping wizards and trying to catch up to them, Charger might be for you. If you like resisting damage and you are not a totem warrior that has chosen the bear totem, then Infernal Constitution is a great option for tiefling barbarians. This will allow you to resist cold and poison damage while also boosting your constitution. Tieflings will already get fire resistance, so you're getting 3 damage resistances from your race alone, and then 3 more from raging against slashing, piercing, and bludgeoning damage. In a campaign where spellcasters are just getting on your nerves and you want to be able to smash them more, take the Mage Slayer feat. You'll have advantage against their saving throws if you get up in their business, and if they cast a spell, you will punish them with an attack. You may have noticed I'm suggesting a lot of feats that utilize a barbarian's reactions. Usually barbarians don't have a lot of reactionary abilities other than opportunity attack, which is great, but it's even better to have these options for more tactical decisions. Another feat that's great for moving up to specific targets that are behind the front lines without getting you in too much trouble is the mobile feat. If you need to move through a frontline fighter wall, you can attack 2 fighters with your extra attack, and then as you attack both of them, you'll be able to move away from them because of the mobile feat. So then you'll be able to get past them without opportunity attacks and get into a better position. Your movement speed will also go up, which if you're wearing no armor, like barbarians can with their unarmored movement, they'll have another 10 bonus speed. So between that feat and that ability, you could be getting about 50 feet of movement as your base movement speed as a barbarian. You want to be swift and merciless. If you really enjoy the Danger Sense ability of a barbarian to have advantage on dexterity saving throws, take the Resilient feat and boost your dexterity from like a 13 to 14 to boost your defense while getting proficiency on dexterity saving throws. Or if your DM's the kind of DM that's throwing a lot of enchanters at you who are trying to take over the mind of the barbarian in the party, maybe it's time to take Resilient and beef up that saving throw for wisdom. 2 other feats that are pretty standard are Sentinel and Tough. Sentinel is just an all-around good feat for keeping people locked down next to you so they can't run away. And Tough just makes you more of a barbarian because barbarians love to have the most HP in the game. Last of all, I have some lesser feats, probably very niche fits for barbarians. One of which is Dwarven Fortitude that allows a barbarian to take the dodge action to use hit dice to heal itself as long as you're a dwarf only. It's a racial feat. So if you take this feat, you will have more options in combat. So if maybe damage isn't always your goal and you just need to survive while maybe your spellcasters take care of a spellcaster who's made it so you're pretty much dead in the water, you do want to try to get in their face. Maybe you just take the dodge action and then you'll be able to heal yourself as well. If you're not content with your medium armor and you don't mind being a little bit more clunky, you can take the heavily armored feat to get up to heavy armor. Then you could be getting plate mail armor to get 18 armor class even before your shield, which would give you a 20. I wouldn't recommend the Heavy Armor Master feat, even though that's really cool to reduce incoming regular damage by 3, because you're already probably raging and resisting basically is going to do that work for you. The Observant feat can also be a wise decision for a barbarian to take, especially if you're like Totem of the Eagle barbarian with level 6, because you can see like up to a mile away and read lips, which can be a really cool thing for a character to achieve. That's really all I've got for that one, for this feat of Observant, but it is a very niche ability that you should just make sure that your DM is going to give you opportunities to use. If you want Expertise, aka double proficiency bonus in something like Athletics, and you have a half or full human race, like half elf or half orc human, you can take the Prodigy to get Expertise in Athletics, let's say, for advantage on grappling foes, even while you're not raging. Then lastly, I know a lot of people love the Tavern Brawler feat. I don't like it myself, but some people just love the idea, especially if you're just playing like a low level one-off or short campaign, to just be able to pick up anything and bash foes with it. And so I will bring it up just in case that's your cup of tea. So that's it for my Barbarian feat recommendations. My character on Audio Dungeon, he uses the Defensive Duelist feat to parry away attacks. He hasn't had the chance yet, but I think I'll have one more session with Audio Dungeon the week after Thanksgiving. Hopefully we can see some of Cilantro's abilities in action. Which of my feat recommendations have you used for your Barbarians? Which ones have you been disappointed with? Which ones have you found to be crucial? I'd love to hear if you agree or disagree, or if I missed something, because I always love growing my knowledge of all the mechanics of D&D 5th edition. I'll be doing some videos soon about Tasha's Cauldron of Everything I've got up here. It's just a lot of content to go through, and I need to update a lot of old articles with all the new subclasses and everything. But it's a lot of fun to have the new book. So remember to check out flutesloot.com for lots of articles. We have a goal to get our 100th article up by the end of the year, 2020, and we just need 6 more, so we're on track to do that. And hopefully you will subscribe to this channel. We are going to keep trying to do weekly content, but with our kids and everything, Opal and I may be getting slowed down from time to time. But we're trying for you guys. Cast message in the comments below with your thoughts, and I'll catch you later. Thanks, everyone.